Hello, I'm Matt.
I'm Jared.
Today we're going to talk about local SEO in 5 minutes per day. So a lot of business owners think it's very hard to just do some basic SEO, and it's really not. Like, the basics are just very simple. I broke it down into 5 days, but it also includes Saturday. So it's technically 6 days, but don't let that discourage you. There are 7 days in a week, so you do get a day off. Monday, what you should do is you should go to your Google business profile and you should add 2 new photos. This is very easy. Just take some pictures of your employees, take some pictures of your building. Make sure you have a nice cover photo and some exterior shots of your building. Always try to do a mix of things.
Yeah, and people are always afraid that I don't have a professional camera, or is an iPhone photo good enough? The answer is yes. It very much is. You can do simple enough framing on a mobile device and it'll work just fine for these purposes.
Yeah. Think of the number of times you've actually looked at the photos on a Google business profile and then multiply that by 0. And that's probably the number of times people actually look at all the photos on a Google business profile. I think that's pretty much it for Monday. I think you can do that in under 5 minutes. That's a 2-minute job, if that. If you have to find your login, that's on you, but we don't include that time. Tuesday, add an update to your Google business profile. So a lot of people don't even know that you can do this. They're basically a very limited social media platform.
Yeah, it's a newer feature too. That's why even if you've been, in the past have actively worked in your Google business profile, you might not realize that it was a feature, but it's a moderately recent one that you can do pretty easily.
And it doesn't have to be all business. Just like your photos, it should have some fun stuff. If you have a theme day at work, if somebody, we had Kaya crash her car. That was a Google business post. We like to let our people know that we have stuff going on. We're crashing cars over here. The other thing is, when you add a new blog post to your website, you should also add that as a Google update. That's a very easy post. You don't even have to do anything. Just copy the first paragraph of your blog, paste it in there, make sure there's a link back to it. Done. Wednesday, this is a hard one. You need to ask at least 3 clients to leave you a Google review. Google reviews are the number one way that Google determines whether you're trustworthy and whether you should rank in the local pack. Nobody enjoys doing it, but if you don't ask for reviews, you're only ever going to get bad reviews. You're only going to get reviews when people are upset about something that you did.
Yeah, and if you do a good enough job in your your products, services, whatever it is your business is doing for people, those positive reviews are out there for sure. It's something that people just, a lot of the time, I know for me personally too, I just don't think about it. All it takes a lot of the time is that slight push or reminder to do it. And people, if they've been, happy with what you've done, they're more than willing to do it for you.
Yeah. So. I think about it when I'm angry, so I'm part of the problem. But I can also recognize the monster that we're fighting here. So it's a struggle. The other thing is, you should also use this time to respond to any reviews that you've received. Because that's another signal. Google just likes to see that you're engaging with the platform, engaging with your customers. This is especially true of negative reviews. If you have a negative review, let it sit for a couple days. Maybe bring the simmer down a little bit, and then just sort of calmly approach it and try to resolve the problem. Because a lot of people use a 1-star review. They'll look at your response to see how you react and how you respond to and fix problems that occur. Because problems always occur. Just try to solve them. Try to be positive. The other thing is, if they're not truthful, if they're not relevant, you can flag them. Don't expect much. Google does not like to be very helpful in this way. It doesn't like to remove reviews at all. You can get them removed for bad language, or if the reviewer obviously admits that they've never been to your store or something like that. But by and large, it's going to be there forever.
Yeah, Google definitely makes it pretty difficult to remove because they're always looking for, authenticity with those listings and looking for, real people with real reviews, even if they're negative. And so it's pretty difficult to get those removed. But, at the same time, like Matt said, you try to respond to it in the best way that you can. There's nothing worse than seeing a very reactionary, response to those reviews. It's a pretty big turnoff a lot of the time. So like you said, measured, really, kind, courteous response to that as much as possible, as to like addressing the problem directly, whatever it was. Even if the review itself doesn't say what it was, try to explain the situation a bit with your apology. That way people in the future seeing it can see that you approach that in a very constructive way.
Thursday, add 2 more photos to your Google business profile. This is a 2-minute job. Now, we're banking a little bit of this time because Friday, Saturday are going to be a little more in depth. Same rules apply to Monday as the Monday recommendations. Just make sure it's a variety of photos and you're not just posting the same, it's not just Carl every day smiling at the camera, standing in front of the service desk. Like, people don't want to see that. They want to see customers in action, people doing stuff, products, a variety of things.
Although it would be funny to see for a week straight or something.
Yeah,
Carl
I mean, if you want to lean into it,
would be pretty good.
I'm into it. Yes, I would encourage
if
that.
it's your brand, go for it.
Yeah, if it's your plan to be weird, I appreciate you. Just send me your business card. Friday and Saturday. This is where it gets a little harder. You should work on a new blog post for your website. People hate this. People don't like to do this. It takes a lot of time to write, and people a lot of times think, oh, I'm not a writer. I'm not good at this. But you're good at your business. Talk about your business. Be authentic. Ultimately, yes, Google cares if it's grammatically correct a little bit, but it's better to have something that's imperfect than to have nothing at all.
Topic doesn't really matter. If you're a seasonal business where if it's a specific time of year, you've got something great to say towards that season, perfect. If not, you can just talk about general, services, products. It doesn't really matter the topic as long as you're being an authority on it and talking, to what you uniquely provide with that. That's what really matters. So.
Yeah. So your goal here is to get 300 words. That's not going to be, you're not going to be able to do that in 5 minutes on a Friday and Saturday. But if you do the math, that's 10 minutes Friday and Saturday. Now, if you do that for 4 weeks, that's 40 minutes. And you can probably write a pretty good blog post in 40 minutes. So on the 4th Saturday or the 4th Friday, whenever, maybe you don't work on Saturday, I don't know you, just post it to your website. And that way you get 1 blog post per month, which is a pretty good amount. And then the other thing is you can always go back and just expand a blog post. If you've done 300 words, maybe you have more to say on a topic that you've said before. Just go back and add another 70, 80, 100 words, whatever. You just want to make sure that you have a good amount of content coming to your site on a regular basis. And the other thing I would recommend here is to try to use some locally focused keywords. So if you're a computer repair shop, say computer repair in Kalamazoo, or Kalamazoo computer repair, Kalamazoo PC repair, whatever. And those will kind of slowly build the number of keywords that you rank for on a local level over time.
Yeah, even if it's a service area that you're not directly in, but you want to service more, let's say you're in a 30-mile radius, and there's a couple different towns or cities in that radius that you might not be, your physical location might not be there, but you want to service there. It still is worth doing those posts, saying those location-based keywords that it will start over time to get you to rank there. Again, as long as the content is there.
That's it. 5 minutes a day.
Easy.